Welcome, you two, to a new episode of Back in Business, episode 4, I believe. And today I'm going to be taking you through an entire kind of workout of rehab exercise that I've been doing for my knee. A little bit of background, freshman year of college, 6 years ago almost. Had a pretty bad knee injury, took 2 years to rehab, slowly got better, did get better, and then about October had a scare of potentially that injury coming back. It was very painful, something wasn't right. MRIs didn't really show anything but a minor sprain to my ACL, and now it looks like there's a little bit of a cartilage issue. So I've been practicing mobility, proper timing, and firing of the muscles in my squat, because that's really the only thing that hurts, which is starting to affect my Olympic lifts a lot. I can't get to a certain weight and drop under the weight with the overhead squat and the snatch, and the bottom of a front squat with the clean and jerk. It's starting to catch up to me. So the past 2 weeks, I've been really patient and consistent, dropping the ego. I haven't squatted in almost 3 weeks. Done some box squats here, body weight, but slow process. But I'm going to start reintroducing squatting this week. Not today, but I'm going to take you through those exercises as well as an upper body push-pull workout. So let's get to it. Alright, so first thing I did, which I forgot to film, was some foam rolling to really do some soft tissue mobilization. Foam rolling only does so much. The actual amount of tension you need to break up muscle tissue is extreme, and most of the time you're not going to be able to do that yourself. If you've ever had a soft tissue massage from physical therapy, it's very painful because they're using a lot of force to break up scar tissue and break up muscle tissue. It's very hard to do, but foam rolling does show for a small window, 10 to 15 minutes, can improve some mobility. So I just did that on both calves. My right knee is the one that's having issues, and I've noticed that my right ankle is less mobile than my left. So I'm not neglecting one side, but I'm putting a little bit more work on one side. I don't want my left ankle to continue improving in mobility and my right ankle improve in mobility, but it's going to improve like this. So it's not going to make a difference. So the next thing I'm doing is just an ankle mobility stretch on a bench. You can do this on a box. I'm doing 3 sets with my right knee and only 1 set with my left. I still want to get this ankle mobile for what I'm going to do in my workout, but main focus is my right ankle. So making sure that my knee is driving over my big toe. I've got a timer here for 30 seconds. I'm going to drive my knee straight over my toe, grab the edges of this bench, start my timer for 30 seconds. I'm keeping my heel on the ground, a flat balance in my foot through the midfoot. I've got pressure on my big toe, little toe, and my heel. Same concept as you would when you squat. And I'm feeling a stretch down here towards my Achilles and in these tendons. It's going to increase range of motion, increase mobility. Really make sure that knee is driving straight over the toe. All right, another mobility drill that I'm working on is my hip mobility. My hip mobility isn't too bad. It's not a weak point like my ankle mobility is, but it's something that I still want to work on. I do notice sometimes my hips can get tight. So I'm doing 3 sets of this. This first one, I'm going to do 10 reps each side. My feet are straight forward, and I'm going side to side, trying to touch my knees to the ground. So you notice my left knee touched and my right one didn't. So really forcing that knee down and letting that mobility increase each rep. 10 reps each side. All right, third mobility exercise I'm working on, just because it's good for Olympic lifting, is shoulder mobility. I'm using a resistance band, just doing some pass-throughs. If you have a PVC pipe or a broomstick, that'd be a little bit better just because it's not as flimsy, but a band works just as fine. My hands are slightly outside of shoulder width. You can start wider and then work your way in. I'm starting just outside shoulder width, about my bench grip, and I'm just passing through, feeling a stretch, nice and controlled. feeling a stretch in my pec and letting my shoulders open up. Every few reps, I'm gonna grab a little bit closer inside, and again, pass through nice and controlled, probably about 15 reps total. Okay, round 2 of mobility, similar to the first one that I did, but I'm not gonna have my hands behind me. So I'm doing 3 rounds total of this. Ankle mobility, hip mobility, shoulder mobility. 3 exercises, 3 rounds. The only one that's changing each time is the hip mobility, increasing in difficulty each round. So last time I had my hands behind me, and I was going back and forth. Now I'm gonna try to keep my torso upright and go back and forth and be nice and smooth and controlled. I'm also paying attention in my hips if there's any pinching sensations, and focusing on trying to keep my chest as upright as possible and not let my chest collapse. About 10 reps each side. And while I'm here, I'm just gonna show you the next one. The next one's gonna be the same thing as this, but now we're gonna have an extension, work on also warming up our glutes. So we're gonna rotate over and lift. All right, so the first exercise that we're doing, kind of a corrective exercise, is a single leg squat off of a box, or variation of a pistol squat, whatever you want to call it. You can set this up with these boxes or plates. If you have bumper plates, the 45s are a good thickness. They're about 2 inches, and you can stack those up as high as you need. Start low, then increase. The purpose of this drill, also doing this barefoot and being able to see your knee looking in the mirror, we want to make sure that our foot is engaged on the ground, our knee is in proper alignment with our foot and our hip, and there's not too much shifting. So the purpose of this exercise is to properly cue that our glute is working at the proper timing, our hips are going back before our knees go forward. When we squat, if we squat and our knee is the first thing to move, all of the pressure is now on our knee as opposed to our hip. We should put most of that pressure in our hip and glute. Those are the strongest muscles and joints that we have. So when doing this, we don't want to squat down with our knee first. One leg off, hip goes back, and then knee drops and straight up. We want to make sure that our foot is balanced, it's not caving in, or not too far on one side of our foot. We want to make sure that our knee is tracking over our toe, and it's not caving inside, too much valgus movement, and it's not shaking around. If we do see a lot of shaking around, that's probably signs of hip instability or improper functioning of our glute medius and maximus muscles to make sure that our knee is traveling over our toe. I'll do 2 to 3 rounds of 10 reps each leg. Hips back, drop the knee, tap the ground, back up, nice and controlled. Now that we're done with that, onto the meat and potatoes of this workout. Solid upper body push-pull, starting off with some incline bench, 6x4 with some chin-ups, a lot of volume, a lot of chest and back work today. I just finished really light technique work for my Olympic lifts, just to make sure I don't lose anything. Snatches, I only worked up to 95 pounds. I didn't really work up to anything, and then did some split jerks, worked up to a single at 155, keeping it light, making sure Nothing's too intense on my knee quite yet, and hopefully Tuesday starting to introduce some squatting. But in between these lifts, I'm going to be talking about some programming. So let's go! All right, just finished up my third set of incline bench. I have 3 more to go, doing sets of 4. Now this concept is kind of going to apply to this old school hypertrophy program, where a lot of times you don't have to increase the weight every single set, and also not training to failure every single set. So I picked a weight originally, my first set at 205, that I could probably do for sets of 6, but I'm training 2 reps under that. So this third set, the other 2 sets felt pretty easy. This one just now started to feel a little difficult. So by the time I get to that sixth set, it's going to be more difficult. And that's the point of avoiding training to failure. You're gonna burn yourself out so much. You're not gonna be able to train at the optimal level, especially when you're training higher volume over the course of the week. So picking weights that you can train 2 to 3 reps shy of failure is going to be a lot better for your longevity. It's going to be able to, it's going to allow you to train at a higher volume and intensity over the course of the week. Why train intensely once a week when you can do it multiple times a week? Avoiding training to failure is going to be a big concept in this old school hypertrophy program to apply. So I'm going to finish up my other 3 sets and some chin-ups, and then we'll talk about the structure of this old school hypertrophy program, as well as some new programming that is going to come out over the course of this next month. And it's a lot. All right, so I just went ahead and finished up the rest of my workout. Had some wide grip benching, shrugs, a different rope movement, and then a little bit of arms and core. So that's done. Now let's talk about the structure of this old school hypertrophy program. And some of this kind of applies to all of the programs, but they all are a little bit different because they all have a different goal. This one's an old school hypertrophy split, or at least some of it is. So let's get into it. The first thing, as with all pre-made programs, are all 12 weeks long, and this program is 6 days a week. Like I said in our Instagram story the other day, we're going to be making more programs that are usually 3 to 4 days a week. I know not everybody has the time or ability to train 6 days a week, so I'm going to be working on more 3 and 4 day a week programs. If there's other things people are interested in, please let us know. So this program, like most, are broken down into 3 different blocks, each of them 4 weeks long. So the first 4 weeks, more of a traditional bro split, chest, triceps, back and biceps, shoulders, legs, quad focus, hamstring focus. That's what it's like. Each week is going to be increasing in volume. The program does start a little bit lower, and then each week and each block, it's going to keep changing. And then there's a deload week before we move into block number 2. For another 4 weeks, we have now an upper-lower splits, a little bit more volume, starting to do more cardio in each split, and then again another deload week before it changes into block number 3, which is the last 4 weeks of the program. Right here is going to be a mixed split between a bro split and an upper and lower split, as well as, again, more volume and more cardio. And then when this is all done, you can max out after week 12. I really encourage throughout this program you track progress, track what weights you are lifting. I do recommend tracking food, and going into that is nutrition. Nutrition for this program. If you want to gain weight, lose weight, or maintain weight, this is a great program to do. I am going to be making another hypertrophy program that is 3 to 4 days a week so that more people can use it. There is information within the PDF when you download it about nutrition geared towards what your goal is. Whether you want to gain weight, lose weight, or maintain in terms of what calories to eat and stuff. Throughout this program and at the end of the program, please share your progress. I do recommend taking progress pictures tracking your physique, tracking your nutrition, seeing what you've learned mentally. It's not always about physical, and it's not always what is on the scale each and every week. There's more information about this, again, within the PDF when you download it. And once again, please compare your before and after, and always share that with us. What is your weight and physique like when you started, before week 1? How strong were you? And same thing with at the end of the program. How strong, body weight, physique changes, things that you learned, things that you want to get better at. Maybe your goals are still the same, you want to keep improving, or maybe they shifted a little bit. These kind of things are important to learn when you're going through any kind of program. So that's the outline of this old school hypertrophy program. It is live today. It is Monday, and there are also 3 one-on-one coaching slots. If they're still available, check the website. It's first come, first serve. It takes time to do one-on-one coaching, so I don't want to open up too much at one time. So I'm currently got 3 more slots that have opened up today. I don't know if they'll be filled up by the time this video is uploaded. But also, like I said earlier, there's going to be 4 more programs coming out over the course of February. There's going to be another bodybuilding program and a powerlifting program that's 3 to 4 days a week. The powerlifting program might include a couple weeks that's 5 days a week, just because of increasing strength and getting that volume up there towards the end of the program. And then I'll do an intro to powerlifting that is going to focus on building a foundation in a squat, bench, and deadlift, which is the main 3 movements in powerlifting. Doesn't mean you have to compete or anything, but it is a great way to build strength. And then the 4th one is an intro to Olympic weightlifting. More of a transition, I should say, into Olympic lifting. So it is an introduction. But you'll be able to train maybe similar to the way that you've been doing it, but it's going to include more mobility drills and technique drills so that you can transition into Olympic weightlifting. Olympic lifts, snatch, clean, and jerk, that overhead movement and dropping down into a low squat. It does take some time and patience to develop the mobility in your ankles, hips, and shoulders to properly execute those movements so that you don't get injured. Because that's always the key. No matter what your goals are, one of the things at the top priority should be avoiding injury and training at a high intensity as long as you can. So if there's any other questions or things that you guys want to see, please leave a comment down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.